I'd like to call the Monday, July 26, 2021 meeting of the Goldsboro Planning Commission to order at this time. Welcome our guests that are here with us this evening. First item on our motion to that effect, please.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
Okay, Ms. Rojas makes a motion to approve the minutes as written and presented by staff, and that's seconded by Mr. Slater. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. We are going to now suspend our duties as the Planning Commission and change virtual hats and become the Board of Adjustment to address item 2A and 2B on our agenda this evening. At the conclusion of those Board of Adjustment items, then we'll revert back and resume our duties as the Planning Commission. And our Assistant Planning Director, Mr. Kenny Tell.
Thank you, Chairman. I hope everybody's had a good summer so far. Good. Good. All right. This first case is for King Autos Used Cars, is our applicant. This is for a variance for a side setback requirement. Subject property is located on the north side of East US 70 Highway between Calvary Street and Norwood Avenue. Property is zoned for general business. Property contains approximately 0.66 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance of the city's general use district dimensional table standards. Specifically speaking, the applicant is seeking a variance of the side setback requirement of 15 feet from the western property line to 4.34 feet. If approved, the applicant proposes to operate a used car lot upon the property. According to the city's UDO, used automobile sales is a permitted use in the general business zoning district only after the attainment of a special use permit approved by Goldsboro City Council. No action can be taken on the special use permit request without a variance from the Board of Adjustment. In accordance with Section 313 of the City Unified Development Code, variances are authorized for height, area, and size of a structure or size of setback and open spaces. Majority of the subject property is within the City of Goldsboro city limits, and has existed as such prior to the adoption of the city's Unified Development Code. City water and sewer are available to serve the property. Property is not located within a special flood hazard area. Again, it is in the general business zoning district, and the setbacks for that district are as follows: 20 in the front, 25 at the rear, 15 on the side. Let's see. So as variances as stipulated in North Carolina General Statute Section 160A388D, I'll read this one time for tonight's two variance requests. When unnecessary hardships would result from carrying out the strict letter of the zoning ordinance, the Board of Adjustment shall vary any of the provisions of the ordinance upon showing all of the following. Number one, that an unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. Number two, that the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Number three, the hardship does not result from actions taken by the applicant or property owner. And number four, the requested ordinance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. So the city makes the following findings of fact for the variance request of a side setback from 15 feet to 4.34. Number one, an unnecessary hardship will result from the strict application of the ordinance. Well, the commercial building was built prior to the adoption of the city's Unified Development Code. Number two, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. The city's finding was that this hardship resulted from conditions that are peculiar to the property. I can draw your attention to the map. As you can see, the square box identifies the parcel in question. The building to the left is the building in question. As you can tell on the northwestern, I would say, property line there, you can see that the corner of that existing building is very close to that red line, and there is where the variance request comes into play. The dotted dash lines on the property are the city limits. To the rear of the property, you see there is some wood line, which is outside of the city limits. But again, the subject building is the one on the left, and which used to be Southern Signs. The one on the right is a green in color building, which
Vacuum.
it displays the vacuum shop. Moving forward. Number 3, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or property owner. The finding was that the hardship does not result from actions taken by the property owner. Number 4, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved, which we have found that it is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance. The applicant has submitted a site plan for the property. I know that's somewhat difficult to see, but some of the highlights of this site plan are that the applicant proposes to pave the portion that will exist as parking lot for customers and display spaces for the cars, automobiles. We'll go more into detail as we proceed forward to a site plan if the Board of Adjustment chooses to do so. But as you can tell, again, the very left side of that corner building there is within 5 feet of the existing property line, and the side setback is 15 feet. So without further ado, you have before you conclusions. Chairman, I can turn it over to you. We need to vote individually on each one of these for approval or denial. In order to approve this variance, all of these would need to be approved.
I understand.
All right?
And I think that what we had did before, if memory serves me correct, if someone makes a motion, it's okay to make a motion to approve item finding 1, 2, 3, and 4 and state the motion that way instead of having to do 4 individuals, right?
Absolutely, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Is there any questions of staff or comment? If not, we'll take a motion on this item.
Make a motion that we start off with A3-21 in reference to 1, unnecessary hardship. I approve. Hardship resulting from particular to the property. Approve that. And 3 and 4 as well.
Okay. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Slater makes a motion to approve Board of Adjustment item A321 and individually each of the 4 conclusions, approval of those as stated, and that's seconded by Ms. Rojas. All in favor of that motion the way it was presented, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries, and each of the 4 items conclusion or approved, as well as an overall approval for the item A321. How's that?
Thank you, Chairman. Perfect. Moving on to our next variance request. Keep in mind these are public hearings as well. This next one is A4-21. I'm sorry, I'll show you some more pictures. I apologize for not showing it. On your left is the subject property. All right. So, Mr. George Wolf is applying for a side setback requirement as well for property located on Highway 70 West. Subject property is located on the south side of West US 70 Highway between Centura Drive and Martin Road, consisting of approximately 4.5 acres. Property is zoned general business and has a total frontage of 290 feet along West US Highway 70 and 579 feet along Martin Road. Applicant is requesting a variance from the city's UDO, section 5.3, dimensional tables and standards, for the subdivision of private property in the general business zoning district. Specifically speaking, the applicant is seeking a variance for proposed lot 1 from a required setback along the northwest property line from 15 feet to 1.06 feet. In addition, the applicant is seeking a variance for the proposed lot number 2 from a required setback on the southeast property line from 15 to 1.06. And if you don't mind, Chairman, I'll be glad to step up and show you where those lines are.
Please. That was going to be my only question.
Is this where the overhead door place is?
Mhm.
Yes, sir. So right here is the two buildings, one here, one here. I'll show you the preliminary subdivision plat, but you'll see where the two properties have been separated. There are actually 6 lots as a part of this subdivision plat. But for the sake of discussion, for the variance request, it actually deals with only lot 1 and 2 only. And you can see the building is here. Lot 1 contains this building. Lot 2 actually contains this building. And here's that space that he would like to subdivide as part of this 6-lot preliminary subdivision plat. In accordance with the section 313 of the city's UDO, variances are authorized for height, area, and size of a structure. Subject property is located outside of the Goldsboro city limits. However, it's located inside the Goldsboro extraterritorial jurisdiction. City water and sewer are not available to serve the property. Water is provided by Wayne County's Fork Township. Sewer is available through on-site sewage pump and disposal systems approved by the Wayne County Health Department and through a force main provided by Wayne County's Fork Township. Property is not located in a special flood hazard area. Again, the general business zoning district setbacks are 20 feet at the front, 25 feet at the rear, and 15 feet on the side. Variances as stipulated in North Carolina General Statute, Section 168. We've gone through that before. I'll be glad to go through it again if needed. When it comes to the city's findings of facts, the city makes the following as the findings of facts as it relates to the variance request. So, number 1, unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. Finding was that the building was not built prior to the adoption of the city's UDO. Use of the property would not be limited by granting the variance. Number 2, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Finding the hardship results from conditions that are not peculiar to the property. Number 3, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. The finding was that the hardship does result from actions taken by the property owner. On February 5th, 2001, Goldsboro City Council approved the applicant's request for site plan approval, which included a 15,400 square foot building for retail sales and associated parking, as well as a 5,000 square foot storage building located at the rear of the property. Number 4, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. Our finding was that the requested variance is not consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. Lot number 2, the city findings are the exact same as 1. That the commercial building was not built prior to the adoption of the city's Unified Development Code, number 1. That number 2, that the hardship results from conditions that are not peculiar to the property. Number 3, the city's finding was that the hardship does result from actions taken by the property owner. And number 4, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance. Here is the building along 70 West. As you can see, it seems like it's all one building, but there was a 2.8-foot separation between the two buildings at the time when it was built. We've inquired into our building inspections, our chief inspector, and he has assured me that there is a firewall that separates the two buildings. Here is a side view of the building and property along Martin Road. I wanted to say, Chairman, before you debated the issue, that again, there are 6 lots here, and if you don't mind, I'll be glad to go over and show those to you.
I wish you'd show us where that setback is. I'm familiar with the property, I'm just not sure exactly about the setback.
Right down the middle of the building.
Do I? Yeah.
Here is the actual setback from building lot 1. Variance request of, what did I say there, 4 something feet or 2 feet? I think it was 1 point.
Yeah, it was a foot and some change.
1.06.
Yeah.
1.06 here, so there's a side setback for this building, and then there's a side setback for this building of 1.06, which would be the request that he's asking for the side setback requirement. This would be lot 1, lot 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the original site was actually approved for the retail sales and for the accessory storage building. It was built, again, specifically in accordance with the City of Goldsboro's site plan requirements as one structure. To separate the property into 2, from actually going from 1 into 6 properties, we'd actually be creating a nonconformity, because this was approved as such. When you separate this whole lot into a non-conforming lot, not meeting that setback requirement, that is something that is not a practice that we want to get into, because that's actually creating a non-conforming situation,
Right.
a non-conforming building setback. I have talked with the engineer, the site engineer who produced the map. He understands the situation. We have explained that to the owner as well. I think that one option is to combine lots 1 and 2 together.
Right.
If in fact the variance was denied for lots 1 and 2, the subdivision could still be executed, but the 2 lots 1 and 2 would have to be created into 1 lot. But again, this is totally your decision. Have any questions?
Alright. Seems pretty straightforward to me, so I don't have any questions or comments unless staff does, or a member of the board does for staff.
Question, what is the concern as being consistent with the spirit of the property, what have you?
Right, well, again, if the board approved the variance for the side setback, it would be not consistent with our granting of a variance for a side setback requirement from 15 feet to 1.06. Again, we don't want to create a non-conforming situation. Right now, everything complies. But if we do this, technically, if it was built prior to the adoption of our zoning ordinance, and maybe the lot was already subdivided into several pieces where you didn't have those side setback requirements, that's one thing. We've done that before. We feel like we were within the spirit as well as the law. But with this particular situation, again, the applicant has informed me he wants to subdivide the property for his descendants so that they can all have a piece of the property in the future. But in the end, the intent is there, it's good, but when you look at the plat, the best thing to do, all these other properties that he's creating off of it, we can make that work in accordance with North Carolina general statutes. But lots 1 and 2, because the buildings were originally approved to be built in that way, it met the building code and it met our site requirements at the time. But if we create another lot and it doesn't meet the side setback requirements, then we've actually contributed to creating a hardship here. And we don't want to get into the business of creating hardships.
I sort of agree with that assessment. I know sometimes we try to be pro-business as a board, which I wholeheartedly support. And this is one of those situations to where here's a piece of county property that the property owner is having to comply with city rules and regulations of the ETJ. But there again, as Mr. Talton stated, when the property was developed, the applicant and owner was aware of that because it was developed to those city standards. And this is a textbook case of, as has been presented already, that the request fails to meet any of the findings spelled out one at a time. I mean, there's just, I don't see any wiggle room whatsoever. It's just, we make decisions by the book, and this is a open and closed scenario.
The very last lot on the left there, lot 6, it was approved as an accessory structure. That's one of those things that if he were to develop lot 6, the one thing we would need to have is a principal structure on the lot, because right now there is none, and the owner has agreed that when the time comes, if that lot were to become sold separately, that it would still be used as accessory, but a principal structure would have to be built in order to make it compliant.
Because it will be non-conforming.
That is correct. That is exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the best option is, not that it's our place to recommend, but as has already been pointed out, if it was represented as a 5-lot subdivision and possibly with a plan for a primary structure, it might be a little different. But I mean, under the circumstances, if we approve it as non-conforming use, then that there's a commercial lending institution isn't going to provide financing for a buyer to purchase a non-conforming use property. So that's just, we're just in a situation where we like to be able to approve as much as we can, but I don't see not one single finding of fact tilts in the applicant's favor in this regard.
All right.
Do we have any further questions or comments? If not, we'll need a motion on this item. And your motion, make sure if you make a motion to point out the fact your motion is for both of the lot 1 and lot 2, if you so choose to do so.
Well, I'll make a motion on title number A421 on lots 1 and 2 that we deny at this time, due to the fact that it's not consistent with the spirit and purpose intended of the ordinance.
Okay. We have a second to that motion?
I'll second that one.
Okay. Mr. Slater makes a motion to deny variance request A421 for both lot 1 and 2, and that denial further goes on to break down that denial is for each of the findings of fact, for the 4 findings of fact denial on both lot and 1 and lot 2. And we have a second on that item as well. So if we can have a motion, we have a second from Ms. Barnett. Have a motion, and we have a second. All in favor of that motion to deny, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries, and this item is denied.
Alrighty, Chairman, moving on, we can now conduct business as the Planning Commission of the City of Goldsboro. So the next item I have, we will revert now back to Tanya and Daniel King, special use permit. This is a special use permit request for used auto sales. They're on West 70, adjacent to the Pizza Inn. The applicant requests a special use permit for the operation of a used auto sales lot located in the GP zoning district. According to the UDO, used automobile sales are permitted use in the general business zoning district only after the attainment of a special use permit approved by City Council. Currently, the applicant has sought a variance for the property, and of course, this Board of Adjustment has approved that variance. Let's see. As you see, previously the site was approved as a site fabrication business, formerly known as Southern Signs. Currently, the existing commercial buildings and lot are unoccupied. The approval criteria of used automobile sales requiring a special use permit from Goldsboro City Council are as follows. Minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. Minimum lot frontage and width shall be 100 feet. No parking of used vehicles or customers' vehicles shall be allowed on the required street yard landscape area. Number 4, no vehicles for sale shall be parked within 20 feet of residentially zoned property. And 5, all vehicular display areas shall be improved with approved surfaces, curb, and gutter in accordance with the city's UDO. The applicant has submitted a preliminary site plan which indicates compliance with the above listed approval criteria for used automobile sales as a special use in the general business zoning district. In addition, the site plan shows an existing one-story commercial building of approximately 2,460 square feet proposed for use as offices for automobile sales, record keeping, public restrooms, and storage. Another existing one-story commercial building is attached to the principal structure, consisting of approximately 1,000 square feet and formerly used as storage space. The applicant intends to convert the attached storage building into an automobile service bay for customers of the business. Access to the site will be provided directly from NC Secondary Road 1591 with a proposed 22-foot wide paved access drive. NCDOT has been contacted since this is a state-maintained road, and no roadway improvements will be required for the site. Total 7 parking spaces are proposed to include 1 handicap accessible ramp. Internal sidewalks are shown, providing access to building entrances through slope ramps and handicap walkways. External sidewalks are not required for the site in accordance with the city's UDO. Interconnectivity has not been shown for the site. The owner-developer will be required to identify interconnectivity for the site should adjacent property directly east of the property be improved for commercial development in the future. City and water are available to serve the property. It is not located in a flood hazard area. A portion of the subject property located at the rear of the site is outside of the city limits of Goldsboro. The owner of the property will be required to annex this portion of the property into the city limits since city utilities serve the site. With regards to landscaping, maple trees have been shown along the frontage of the property. An existing 6-foot in height opaque chain link fence serves to buffer the property from the existing commercial development directly east of the site. Existing vegetation serves the property at the rear to meet the landscape buffer of a type C wide landscape buffer yard. Commercial dumpsters will be utilized for garbage collection and have been identified on the submitted site plan. Staff will ensure that the dumpster corrals are properly constructed and appropriately screened. At the public hearing held July 12th, no one appeared to speak for or against this request. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you.
Have any questions for staff or comments? If not, we'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Rojas makes a motion to approve item SU 7-21 as presented by staff. And of course, that will be subject to interconnectivity being provided on the updated site plan, and also subject to staff approval of a drainage plan, subject to annexation, compliance with the rear of the property, and subject to staff's approval of the dumpster areas. Would that be your motion?
That would be my motion.
And Mr. Waters seconds that motion?
Yes.
All in favor of that motion, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. The item's approved.
Moving to our next item, special use permit 8-21 well-traveled beer here on South Center Street. It is an existing place of entertainment with ABC permits. This will be an amendment to that special use permit. The applicant is requesting to amend a previously issued conditional use permit. At the time, that's what we called them. Now they're all special use permits to allow the operation of a place of entertainment with ABC permits. This amendment would allow the extension of hours of operation only. Currently, Friday and Saturday nights, the applicant has been operating from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. The applicant is making the request from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. 2 a.m. is the latest date any place of entertainment can be operational within the city of Goldsboro. Again, the property is existing, located in Central Business District. You see the hours of operation Tuesday through Thursday, Friday through Saturday, and on Sunday. Number of employees, 2. Here's a floor plan. The applicant was granted a conditional use permit to allow the operation of a place of entertainment with ABC on December 7th, 2015. Conditional use permit was amended and approved by the council on May 8, 2017 to expand the operation for additional seating. The applicant, of course, is now requesting to extend the hours of operation on Fridays and Saturdays to 3 p.m. from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. The applicant has renovated approximately 1,600 square feet of an existing 2-story, 5,300 square foot masonry brick building for craft beer sales and consumption. 2017, the applicant renovated an additional 1,674 square feet of the first floor for additional seating and storage. Submitted floor plan shows seating for 59 people, beverage shelving, and display areas. The applicant, again, requests an extension of operation hours only. At the public hearing held July 12th, no one appeared to speak for or against the request. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Any questions or staff or comments on this item? If not, we'll take a motion.
I'd just like to ask, is there, do they frown the city kind of on the 2 p.m. deal or not really? I mean, I know you said at the set, that was the max, 2 p.m.
Yes, sir. No, I think the city is basically a case-by-case basis. You know, if there's any issues with existing or newly occupied establishments, most of the time they will grant the applicant their request for hours of operation, and at times we have had to modify those hours of operation to seek compliance with state, federal, and local regulations.
Okay.
We'll take a motion on this item.
Downtown.
I agree.
I'll second.
Good.
Yeah. Ms. Rojas makes a motion that we approve item SU 8-21 as presented by staff, as seconded by Mr. Slater. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion approved.
I'm sorry, I've done it again. There's a picture of the establishment, real pretty. Looks good. All right. Moving along to a change of zone request.
We'll take the short version on that.
Yes, we will. We will certainly do that. MC Morgan and Associates, the applicant. The property is located on the west side of Thoroughfare Road between Central Heights and NC Railroad. The applicant is requesting a change of zone for a portion of the subject property from residential 16 to residential 6 conditional zoning, limiting the use to an 84-unit apartment complex. So, if you'll recall, on April 1st, 2019, Goldsboro City Council accepted the recommendation of the Goldsboro Planning Commission and adopted an ordinance to change the zone for the property directly north of subject property from residential 16 and 12 to residential 12 conditional zoning, limiting the use of the property to an 84-unit apartment complex. Another request was made on April 5th, 2021 to do the same. Remember, on April 1st, accepted the recommendation. It was approved for Tiffany Gardens Phase 1. For Phase 2, this request was denied at their May 3rd, 2021 meeting. The council voted to rehear Tiffany Garden Phase 2 rezoning as they found there to be substantial change in the conditions and circumstances bearing on the application. Now, with request of council to rehear the zoning request, the developer is proposing the second phase of residential development consisting of an 84-unit apartment complex. There's the property there, as you'll know. The public road to the east is Thoroughfare Road. That road that you see just to the north, the title block just does cut off that road, but that is Central Heights Road. The property there in red is part of Phase 2 Tiffany Gardens. Let's see. Again, you have recommended this project once before. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll just briefly tell you again, access to this site will be directly from Thoroughfare Road. Thoroughfare Road is a state maintained road. NCDOT officials have been contacted and are requiring driveway permits as well as left and right turn lanes along Central Heights Road as a result of the Phase 1 development. So again, if this project is approved, this project consisting of 2 84-unit apartments will have access off of Central Heights and off of Thoroughfare Road, which having those 2 points of access is a good thing for the project developers and for the city with regards to traffic circulation and access to the property and off the property. The developer will be required to pay a fee in lieu of an amount of $8,280 to the city of Goldsboro, or install external sidewalks. Interconnectivity has been shown to the west of the site, as adjacent property is currently being developed for multifamily use. Let's see. All right, so we've covered that. Engineering, city and water are available to serve the subject properties. City engineering will require approval of stormwater calculations and drainage plans similar to Phase 1 development prior to the issuance of any building permits. Landscaping, street trees will be provided along Thoroughfare Road, as well as a Type B 15-foot landscape buffer. Staff is working with the applicant to ensure all of our landscape requirements are met per our UDO. Commercial dumpsters will be utilized. Building elevations have been submitted and indicate the proposed buildings will be constructed of brick veneer and fiber cement shake siding, meeting the standards of our UDO design standards. The subject property is located outside of city limits, since it's located connect to city water and sewer, as well as annexed into the city limits of Goldsboro. At the public hearing on July 12th, 2021, one person spoke regarding concerns with drainage as a result of the proposed project, and the applicant spoke in favor of the request. With regards to drainage, again, before any project is approved, it has to be vetted through our city engineering department, and they will make sure that all drainage and site excavation, any work involving erosion control, all that is met in accordance with state, federal, and local regulations. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you.
All righty. I don't have any questions or comments of staff, as we've already unanimously approved this item one time and it's back before us again with no changes. If no one else has any questions or comments, we'll take another approval if the board sees fit to do so.
I make a motion to do Z721, the Tiffany Garden Phase 2.
Okay?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Waters makes a motion that we approve stormwater and drainage being approved by staff upon presentation, and that's seconded by Miss Barnett. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries and the item's approved.
Last but not least, we will be looking at a street name change, as you see there, from Poplar Street to Dr. H.E. McNair Street. A petition is circulated to change the name of a section of Poplar Street to Dr. H.E. McNair Street. The section of Poplar Street runs from Harris Street intersection northwards approximately 1,150 linear feet to its terminus. The petitioner has indicated that he wishes to change the name of the street in honor of the late Reverend Dr. Howard E. McNair, who was the pastor of 57 plus years of New Stony Hill United Holy Church, which directly abuts this section of Poplar Street at 1003 Poplar Street. The city is authorized to change street names within the city limits according to a provision set forth in its general statutes. While the statutes are very general in nature, the city follows the same procedures used by the county in renaming streets. The proposed name change has been sent to the county planning department to ensure that the name Dr. H.E. McNair Street would not result in any confusion as it relates to the provision of emergency services. The county planning director has indicated that the county does not have any objection to the street name which has been proposed. City Fire has no issues with the request, and city engineering indicated that the use of an individual's full name is typically discouraged, especially if the last name is available for use, suggesting the use of McNair Street. A notice of public hearing was advertised in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks, and all adjacent owners were notified of the hearing by mail. At the July 12th hearing, the petitioner spoke in favor of the request. No one appeared in opposition. Chairman, turn it over to you.
To be clear, so is the staff okay with the full name, or would you prefer the McNair Street?
That was my question. I was going to ask the same question
Well,
about
I know staff and engineering have talked about it together, and we have seen streets that would say something along the effects of, for example, with H.E. McNair, it would be Dr. H.E. McNair Street. I think with the abbreviation Dr. H.E. McNair Street, I don't know how we've compared that with other street names, and we've seen other names similarly addressed. But again, I think that if it's strongly proposed that it stay with H.E. McNair Street, the city will do whatever is necessary to satisfy the petition.
If this board sees fit to just go with that's enough approval for them to decide if they want to do that or if they want to take up adding the rest of it to it, correct?
Well, if that, or you could go with Dr. H.E. McNair Street, and if Emergency Services in Wayne County and the Planning Commission or planning agency for the city get together and say, hey, look, if you're okay with this, we're okay, and if we have to remove those abbreviations, that period beside H and after E, we'll do that, but at least H.E. is still in there.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where the significance lies, is the actual name. McNair may signify many last names for many families, but H.E., Dr. H.E. has significance, I believe, to the petitioner, and I think whatever can be worked out to have that in there, that's
Okay.
probably.
Well,
what
maybe
we'll
it's
do.
best if we're gonna approve it, we approve it as presented,
Right.
and then let the council take it from there.
So
Of
you're-
course, like it dead ends, so it isn't a major thoroughfare or something that, and I feel like that if there's a call for emergency service, it will probably be referred to as McNair Street, regardless of whether or not it's, exactly.
And you
So
say
I'm
there-
okay with approving it.
And you
as
say there's
presented.
other names that worded like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You guys okay with that?
Well,
I'm just-
he's been there that long, he deserves a little credit.
Right. Yeah, I say, if you
I
wanna
move
approve
that
it.
we approve the name,
Okay,
Nair Street, Dr. H.E.
okay.
right now.
All right, Mr. Waters makes a motion that we approve item C1 on the agenda for the street name change as presented. That's seconded by Mr. Slater. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. The motion carries.
Chairman, last but not least, at this time, we only have one zoning change request. Mr. Paul Vinson on 1908 North William, which is on the corner of William, and I believe it is 11th Street. That circles back over to Wayne Memorial Drive. And that's it. Hope you have a great rest of the summer.
Awesome. We're adjourned.